getting pretty deep into spring now, and we're chugging away at stuff. It's a lot of work, but we're seeing some progress. We had some cold nights for the last handful of days, pretty cold. So we've been hesitant to plant out some of our more fragile stuff.
Yeah, we had to do all this preventative cold weather preventative stuff this last week, which isn't always the type of thing that you expect to have to do in mid-April.
Tornadoes in Oregon. That's crazy.
Ooh.
We don't have tornadoes here.
But they don't normally have that many in Oregon either.
No, I've never heard. We had one in Vancouver this year, and that was kind of
Prince George, 10 centimeters of snow.
Yeah. Oh.
Welcome to the members.
Yeah, so we're starting to see some progress. We're excited, but it's also, the work has kind of been piling up because the weather hasn't been cooperating. So we've been waiting to get a bunch of the stuff in the ground, and some of the stuff is starting to need to be in the ground.
There's some pretty yellow, overgrown looking seedlings.
Yeah.
That are like, oh, any moment now would be a good time to put me in the ground.
Yeah, and Serina's a bit concerned about our Lysianthus because they're a little bit root bound, and they seem to be very, they're only getting very shallow amounts of water, so it might be wet 2 inches under the surface, but the plugs are only 1 inch.
The plug is like this big, so
they're kind of looking sad. So we're revising our watering strategy for them, which should hopefully help them out. And
which is difficult because we don't have our irrigation on yet. Because with the weather being so cold, our farm irrigation only gets turned on once we're past all the frost and freeze risks. So at this point, our only source of water for the farm is dragging a hose off of our outbuilding. And so we're just dragging hoses all day, but we only have one source of water, so it only covers so much.
Yeah, but the good news on the irrigation front is, we've done a bunch of work over the last couple of years to figure out what we wanted from an irrigation system. And we were kind of waiting until we had it fully figured out what we wanted before we invested in it. But we've been doing things that we knew like slowly over time. And then just a couple weeks ago, we hired on somebody to kind of come in and do a bunch of the labor. So, I dug all the trenches.
More technical.
Yeah, just to make sure.
We did the more labor part.
To make sure we didn't screw it up.
And they came in to do the expert.
So we're gonna have a pretty skookum irrigation system going this year, which will save us lots of time. And we're working on a roof between our shipping containers. We hired a welder to help us out with that. So there's gonna be a lot of advantages this year over previous years on the farm, like lots of stuff that we've gotten done. There's tons of perennials that are popping up, and those are all things that we planted over the last couple of years that they're really looking healthy and large, and they might produce really early.
Yeah, and last year was so hot, and a lot of the perennials, it was their first year, so it was hard to say if we'd given them enough love and care to make sure that they would survive for a winter and come back. So it's been really nice to see that almost all the perennials from last year have popped back up and have come back.
Somebody's asking how we balance time with the family and stuff. It's tough. Basically, we invested a lot of money in lights in the outbuilding, and so working in the outbuilding after the kids go to bed is pretty easy because it's so well lit. That
Yeah, we put these LED shop lights into the outbuilding, and lots of them, so they're a really bright space. And after that, I was like, oh my god, these lights are transformative. These the quality of life these lights bring to me.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, these need to be everywhere. We put them like in our house.
Yeah,
like
they're
as
pretty
like
much
ring
everywhere.
lights.
But they're great to have. Even in a bedroom, they're great to have because, like they're wide. Everybody knows a 4 foot long light. It doesn't cast like a lot of shadows, and so
Yeah, but your point is
my point
work
is
a lot
we work a lot of hours
at night.
at night.
Like for the family balance. So we put the kids to bed and then we go and we work when the kids are in bed.
Or like one person's inside and they're cleaning the kitchen and watching the kids, and then the other one is outside, prepping garden beds or transplanting tomatoes or whatever it is. We have to utilize our time pretty well.
I think one thing that doesn't necessarily translate very well to like our actual like lived experience versus the videos is we're not working together very often.
Yeah.
So in the videos, because we film each other, like quite often we're kind of picking a job and then going like scheduling it and being like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna film this, and so we go and we're working together so that we're like filming it. But normally it would be the type of job that like if Ian's filming me harvesting flowers for a video, normally I'd just be out harvesting flowers and Ian would be doing something with the kids. So we take kind of like, I think normally for the vlogs that we were doing in the summer, like the going down to the farmer's market, we'd kind of film half a day on Thursday, half a day on Friday, and then Ian would film by himself at the farmer's market. But we wouldn't only be working what we'd film. And the other thing too that doesn't necessarily come across in the videos, and I think the last video that released is a good example of that. But we're doing stuff like all the time, and we're very rarely filming it just because it slows us down so much to do the filming. So in the last video, if you guys haven't seen it, you should go check it out because I think it's a good one. Mm-hmm. But the very beginning of the video is this like couple minute segment of like Ian doing farm prep, and that was like a week of work. So it's like in that segment of the video he preps the entire farm. We wouldn't normally film bed prep.
Well, we film bed prep, but
yeah, but
there's different things that just don't, like job tasks that don't look good on camera, that don't really, either you're not in the same spot for long enough, or it just doesn't look visually impactful. Kind of like just looks like you're sitting there, and so only maybe a quarter or 20% of what we do we actually film, and the rest of that stuff is stuff that it's like, oh, I just got to get some stuff done. I don't have time to film it, and we're just trying to get stuff done or whatever. So there could be even more. Trevor said that we need to clone ourselves, but we've had this discussion before, and Serina says that we're not allowed to clone ourselves because I'd probably just hang out with my clone all the time.
Yeah, we'd waste time hanging out with the clones, and we wouldn't actually get any more done.
But I think that maybe becomes because Serina's dad is an identical twin.
And so I know.
Yeah.
I know that clones waste time together.
And her dad likes to hang out with his brother all the time.
And then they get into trouble.
So if I had a clone, I'd probably just he'd be pretty hilarious probably. So I already walk around the farm and I make jokes.
I was gonna say something, but I got your clone comment. Something about something about us working on the farm. Oh, I was gonna say going back to like what Ian was saying about how the work looks on the camera. I was gonna say the harvesting flowers is the perfect example. When we harvest flowers quite often for the camera, we're not actually harvesting flowers. We're just harvesting flowers for the camera. Because if you go and you harvest flowers, you're gonna spend forever picking the same flower right? And like, so if we went and we filmed for an hour, it'd be like, oh, you saw me harvest the zinnia row, and that's not as fun for the videos. So we'll like go out and we'll be like, oh, I'll harvest a few of this, a few of that, just because
to get it on camera.
It's even though,
and then you'll go back and you'll harvest,
and then I'll finish harvesting. But it's faster. It takes less time if I pretend to harvest for an hour, and so that's like 2 man hours versus actually harvest while Ian's filming, but you know, it would take me 6 hours to do the harvest, and if we're both there, it's 12 man hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So movie magic.
there's a few things like that we've learned over the years that we do to make the videos more entertaining and stuff.
I feel like the more we do as a business, like the further along we get in the business, the more valuable those work hours on the farm gets, right? So our first year we had, what was it, 4,000 square feet? How big, or 8,000? How big was the farm? 20 50-foot beds. So 80 times 50, 4,000. So the original farm was 4,000 square feet and a greenhouse, right? That's like what the first one was, first year. So that was a lot less like labor to grow and to maintain and everything, you know. And then the next year we like doubled the space, you know, and this year we have half an acre that we'll be adding on to, I guess. Last year we had half an acre.
Well, this year
we'll have half an acre.
We got 35 new beds opened up.
But we won't fully be growing on that.
Yeah, we'll have them available as we need them.
Yeah, but as we develop more, we need to be more efficient with our time. And like one of the ways that we could be wasting our time if we wanted is by trying to film everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the past we used to try to film a lot more, and it made it so we couldn't get as much done. But now we're kind of like, everything that we film means we have to spend longer editing. Mm-hmm. So let's only film what we know is going to look good on camera.
Yeah.
Because how many years has it been now? How long have we been making YouTube videos?
We're getting close to 5 years.
5 years? It seems crazy.
5 years in the summer. You know, my focus this spring too, because this is like early spring is kind of like the time when the workload for projects is biggest for me. You know, I still have workload in the summer because I'm making videos and I'm doing the markets and I'm watching the kids and I'm doing, you know, all the maintenance on the farm. But in the spring, it's like projects need to get done. And
jobs,
as
we like to refer to them.
So I've been less focused on making videos because I want to be able to focus more on making videos during the summer when, you know, like when we have flowers available and, you know, we're going to the farmers market. So the more
Ian's spoiled
projects.
Ian gets to focus on the videos when it's more fun to make the videos.
Because Serina's edited almost every single video for the last 8 months or so.
Yeah, I guess. I get, like, it seems, I was gonna be like, oh, for the last couple months, but yeah, I guess like
6 months probably.
Like maybe even like starting September.
Yeah.
I've been doing the bulk of the video making.
Yeah.
You know, we both always.
We're both involved in the videos.
We both always have, you know, done everything.
Yeah. You know, last summer, Serina, like, kind of like, I showed her some of the techniques that I used. And because a lot of the techniques for the videos because we're self-taught, are Serina's kind of evolving style. And then some of the stuff was kind of my evolving style. And then I just kind of showed her how to do my stuff. And then we put out a video and they'd be like, oh, I love how you edit, Ian. And it would be Serina. It would be like, hee hee hee.
Well, I don't know. I feel
we still make good videos because I can see one of your videos and I'll be like, I would have done a little bit.
Yeah. Anytime there's writing on the screen, or you know what, I think we could take it as far as this. Anytime there isn't writing on the screen in a video, it isn't my video.
Unless it's like so this type of plant, and you put the name of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
That's still
exactly.
you.
Like if I'm labeling something, it's me, but I think every single video Ian's ever edited, he's made some sort of like written joke on the screen, and they drive me crazy. And there is usually a lot more of them, and I actually go through and I like delete any of the ones that I know won't cause like catastrophic arguments.
I'll put some in that like just an initial idea for a joke, and then maybe it'll get erased later. One time I put it in a like this. It was so stupid, but I really liked it. And it was like one of those early morning scenes on like a farmer market vlog, and it said like the next morning or something like that. But the ing in morning was like was IGN, like a very common typo. And I like left it up there long enough for people just to notice it, so that some people will be like, like I found a typo in your video. Like, oh, they're editing so late at night and they made this typo, and then it like deletes, it like backspaces itself.
Which
and then fixes itself.
to do that, like to make
took a couple minutes.
So to make it
No, that
takes like way more than a couple minutes. But but people don't necessarily understand. It's when you do something like that, it's not video, right? So it's not literally like, oh, it's recording you typing and then deleting. So to do that, Ian has to like write something, and then he has to write it again with less, write it again with less, write it in, going back in, write it in, going back in. So to make a joke like that is a lot more complicated than it often seems.
I mean,
I don't like the writing on the screen because and the reason why I don't like writing on the screen, maybe because I'm a very slow reader. So I can't, and this is part of the reason why we don't, like, it's nicer when Ian and I are both here in these live videos because we can talk and look at the comments. But in general, we prioritize like talking over reading all the comments during these live videos because it's very difficult to like listen and to read for me. So if I'm watching the video, and fair enough, when I'm editing it, I'm not actually listening because I've already heard it a million times as well as I said it myself. But I'm always like, well, the person watching it isn't going to be able to be listening to the words that we're speaking and also be able to like take in what's written on the screen. So anytime you have them competing against each other, they're taking away from each other. And so that's why I don't.
Somebody's asking what our square footage is for growing this year. We're gonna have
what's an acre? 40,000?
I don't know.
So I think so. I think 40,000 square feet is an acre.
We're gonna have almost 100.
We're gonna have we had 20.
Well, we're gonna have almost 100 50-foot beds. Although not all of them will be completely utilized.
No, how many? So we have 60 beds plus greenhouses.
Yeah,
right?
And then I think we have 35.
And then the perennial beds.
Well, then the new stuff, the new ones that we opened up, there's about 35 over there, and then there's space for 5 more. But we're basically, I think we're gonna have about 95 beds this year, with only about 5 more beds open to ever being able to expand.
Oh, Sunflower Steve is here.
And then also we have all the perennials and a bunch of other areas that we don't consider the beds that are, like another 10,000 square feet or something like that for all the stuff at the top of the farm.
I did the math last year because I started being like half an acre.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did the math, and it was like when I added everything, it was half an acre.
Oh, we got Sunflower Steve's
magazine. We got your seeds. They showed up. But
Steve sent us a magazine and taped in the like.
Well,
are we allowed to say?
I don't know.
It was
secrets.
Yeah, secrets.
I don't know, but yeah, Sunflower Steve sent us some. Oh, and one of the things I was the most worried. So last year, Sunflower Steve sent me some yellow baptisia seeds, and I like grew them into these like little plants, and I was like so happy because I was like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, really, they're beautiful too. And I was nervous that I was not going to be able to grow any. But then I grew a bunch of them and I planted them. And then we had these heat waves and all this horrible weather. And I was like, oh my God, I killed them all. And I was like, I think after all that work, I killed them. They're not coming back, but they're back. They were one of the perennials
they're
that I
popping
was
back
worried wasn't going to be coming back, but they're back. So,
so that's exciting.
So now we'll have lots of exciting stuff.
We do have a lot. We're gonna have a lot this year. It's gonna be they sounded the voice.
Yeah.
That was why we were worried.
Okay. So the hilarious thing. So the seeds, the Baptisia that Steve sent. He sent them like in like damp sand. He like sent them in this like package with some damp sand. And I told him, I was like, oh yeah, stuff takes a really long time to get to us. And so a month later, they showed up in the mail and they were frozen when I got them out of the mailbox. And so they were in this like damp sand. And I think the reason why I had such success on germinating them is they probably like heated up and frozen and heated up and frozen and heated up
like
and frozen a million times while going through the mail. And so they came just like perfectly primed to germinate. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
Like
through the mail. Yeah.
So what else is new?
Well, I saw. First there was one more question that I thought was funny. Who hates editing more?
Oh, neither of us. We both like. Oh, you know.
which made me laugh because I was like, I always gripe about editing.
I like editing. You know, for me, I think that what you go out and you shoot is just footage. You go and you record some footage, and the video doesn't come together as a video until you edit it. You know, editing is where the heart of the video comes together, and so what I think partially makes us different as creators, not like obviously lots of people
like you and me.
Yeah, but what makes our content unique is the fact that we put so much time into the editing, in the presentation of the footage, and it all comes together in that editing process. I think one time I was working on this video. This was a couple years ago. This was when we were still kind of like finding our audience and stuff. And we were really, it was like a hard one. It was one of the first of our like harvest vlogs. And it was like, there was just so much footage. And then eventually I got this like epiphany, and it just like, it all suddenly, it was like, the Matrix, when Neo like sees the code at the end of the hallway at the end of the first movie, and he just like understood. And I just started realizing the power that you have in the editing process to tell your story. And so that was where I fully like kind of fell in love with editing. And like I feel like now we can tell any story. We have all these stories that we want to tell. YouTube is tough because anytime we make a video and we release it, YouTube shows it to the core audience. So most likely, like lots of you will see it first because if you're in the live video, you're probably one of our bigger fans, and so it shows to you, and then how you react to that video is essentially all the momentum for the video. If we show it to you and you're like, it's not really what I'm interested in, then YouTube will like be like, well, maybe I'm going to show this to less people. And so the views, they never climb up, right? And so the nature of YouTube is you can kind of put in these niches. And so obviously we're kind of in like a flower, grow your own food, grow your own flowers, flower farm, homesteady type niche. There's some variability there, but essentially that's what covers it. But if we went and we did, a video about chopping wood, just about chopping wood right now, chances are that would perform very poorly because we'd show it to all you guys, and you'd be like, I like their flower content more. It would have to be, an idea that you're like, I really want to know You Can't Eat the Grass's take on whatever.
Chopping wood.
chopping wood, say it was. Well, like an example would be there's like a Canadian permaculture legacy. I can't remember what his name is exactly. I watched some of his videos, and he did a video on NFTs. I think it is. You know, like the Wall Street bets, Reddit. You know, like all those
non-transfer. I don't know.
Like you know how you bet with the stock market on like stocks going up and down, and it became all popular. So he did one on that because stuff was going crazy, and obviously like a bunch of his audience wanted to see it, so it became like this massive video for him where it got all these views, and so the point is you kind of get put into this niche, and you do best if you kind of keep putting out variations on the same video if you want your YouTube to push your content out there, which is fun because you get to build an audience. But like sometimes you want to tell a different story. Like I have a video that I want to make about my career in forestry, and it's like I can't put that on this channel because it's just not going to go anywhere.
Thanks so much, Chris. And thanks for countless hours of learning and knowledge.
And so we have another channel that we don't use, that we started a couple years ago when we lost our comments on this channel, and I put it on there. But the point is, if we got all these ideas, like, and Flowerface was one of them. Flowerface was
Flowerface was our attempt to make a video indulgently for ourselves that also would be enjoyable for the audience.
And I think like everybody who saw it enjoyed it, but it got like a lot less views than any other video at that point in time because it's a Halloween video. Even if it's like flower based, it's still different than our normal content, and so it just performs poorly because the core audience isn't as interested in seeing it. And so we have to be very careful about what stories we tell, and like that's why we don't necessarily want to do a lot of like how-to content. I would rather, and Serena would rather, that we kind of incorporate how-to content into a vlog because then if you're interested in that particular like how to grow an onion or how to grow a potato, you could do a video on that, and maybe it would do okay, maybe it wouldn't. It's really kind of a hit or miss type thing. Most likely it wouldn't for us, just the way that our channel works. And so if you include it in a vlog, you can still say all the how-to information that you wanted to about that. You can still show the process, and you can still like say whatever points are important that you feel need to be expressed, but you do it in the format of because I consider vlog, it's like a format, storytelling, it's entertainment, and
Flowerface was the name of my pillowcase, my favorite pillowcase.
Yeah, Flowerface was made out of Leah's favorite pillowcase, and she never got it back, so it's a little bit of a sore spot.
I mean, are you?
I think that explains.
So my one thing, kind of going back to why we originally started talking about this is like who hates editing more. Ian really loves editing. Like Ian likes Ian. No, go away. Ian really likes the process of editing. My goal whenever I'm editing is to make a video. So like, my focus is like, how can I make a good video the quickest possible? I'm very focused on the end result, not necessarily on the work itself. And so my other thing too is I'm very focused on the results of the end results. So like I want to make the video that I want to make is the video that's going to get the most views. There's no video that like I personally want to make more than the one that like gets 1 million views.
Yeah.
Right? Like if making the video that gets 1 million views is a video that I find boring to make, that's still gonna be what I want.
Yeah, you treat it like a business.
Yeah, and that's what I want to do. And I think like my approach to YouTube is really similar as my approach with the farm. My absolute favorite thing to grow is tomatoes, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have any interest in growing tomatoes. My favorite, probably one of my least favorite things to grow is flowers. But I don't feel at all stifled by focusing on growing flowers for the market.
Yeah, Serina's always had a really strong passion to grow food, because that was like a driving passion, and then flowers were like an offshoot, and then I think you like it more than you let on these days. Maybe not like
growing flowers is annoying because they're like fussy.
Yeah.
And they're like hard to grow.
But I think you like making bouquets.
But yeah, no, I enjoy the process of putting the bouquets together. Especially like I was really limited with the $10 bouquets. So this year when we started, or this past 2021 when we started doing $20 bouquets, right? There's only so many ways you can add 10, right? And there's an infinite more ways that you can add to 20.
Yeah.
And so doing those bigger bouquets and having some more options, and also like the success, right? If I was I wouldn't. It's fun to do something successful, right? So like what I was saying about the video, if I could figure out how to make 1 million view videos that I was like, these are the worst videos I've ever made. Every single time I like make one and it hits 1 million views, I'd be like positively reinforcing I'd be Pavlov's dogging myself into loving making those videos that I don't like, because
you like the results.
Because the results is what I want.
Mm-hmm. We've only made 1 million view video. It went viral in India.
Okay, I need to tell the backstory to it. Okay, so Ian and I get frustrated with YouTube, because if I knew how to make 1 million view video, I'd make 1 million view video. Every single video that I make, I'm like, every single video that you guys watch and you're like, well, this one's really good, but this one, total stinker. Every single video, I'm like, no, all amazing. They're all equally amazing. They're all like, the best.
View videos. They're
all 1 million view video.
Long-standing joke between us, we'd be like, I love it. Great video when it was done.
Yeah. Million view video. But so I still don't know. I still don't know what it is that you guys will enjoy. Every single time we're doing our best. Every single time we're like, this is going to be good. This is what everyone wants. This is going to be enjoyable. And then we see when it goes out into the universe. But I was like all like annoyed and frustrated at YouTube, and I was like griping to Ian about it. And I was like, you just watch this. I'm gonna like go make this like ridiculous video. I'd taken this picture on for Instagram of like strawberries. I'm like, I'm gonna go, like everyone loved this strawberry picture on Instagram. I'm gonna use it as the thumbnail for a YouTube video. I'm gonna go make some stupid ASMR strawberry picking video, and it's gonna be like just weird, and it's gonna be 1 million view video because that's how YouTube works.
Yeah.
You put in all this work to make these amazing videos and they do nothing, and then you like make this like stupid weird thing
that it takes no time to make.
Yeah, and then it goes viral, and Ian's like, yeah, whatever. And so I made it, and it didn't do anything. And then a year later it went viral. And we got a couple million views in like India. Is like where
it's got
it
like
mainly
3.5 million views or something now.
Yeah. But that's our only one that comes anywhere near
For me, on YouTube, I only care about a few stats. Lots of people, they deep dive into all the different metrics that they give you, and I don't really care about that too much.
They give you like more knowledge than anyone else.
We know lots about
you guys.
Yeah. We know what else you watch. You know what products you buy,
Well, no,
what time
we
you
don't-
go to bed.
We don't know that, but we do know what time you guys watch.
We
the
know what
videos
you
at.
smell like.
We don't know that. But here, okay, so you guys love
Probably smell like us, dirty.
No. You guys love garden answers.
Yeah.
Your favorite time to watch videos is in the morning when you start your day or when you get home from work. You are mostly women who are similar ages to us, maybe a little bit younger or a little bit older. And you do buy things based on how much money we get paid for how much you watch. You are probably, because we don't know your income level. They don't. YouTube doesn't know that. YouTube just knows like your gender and your age. But based on how much money we get paid for you guys watching, you probably are like middle class or higher income level.
So we're not. It's not like we're rolling in it with YouTube money. You know, you guys have seen our videos. We're not. We could easily be. We could have never started the farm and have been making way more money just with me doing forestry work than we've ever done in this lifestyle. We're not doing this for the money. But you know, the monthly money is one of the stats that I like to watch just because I'm like, it makes me feel, I'm like, okay, we made enough to pay the bills this month. And then I like to watch for the audience retention. You know, there's a graph that every video gets that tells you like how long, what percentage of the viewers are watching at any particular point in the video. And so you can use it to see like what segments people like and what makes people click away, where people get bored or where people like stay engaged. And it'll give you like a, you know, the average viewer watched this 30-minute video for 16 minutes, right? So that's basically everything that I like to look at. And click-through rate I look at a little bit. But lots of people are like really into the numbers way more. I'm just like, our audience liked it. They watched a bunch of it, and we're making enough money to pay our bills. So beyond that, I don't feel constrained to do anything by any sort of rules. I'm like, that just opens us up to be creative with the videos, right? That means,
except for I'm there.
Yeah, to
limiting your creativity.
You're like, easier on the jokes there, buddy. We're not a skit channel.
Except for I'm there going like, no, the audience will not like that, Ian.
Steve asked what's the best length for video. You know, we talk about there is no best length for videos, but what YouTube really likes is like sameness. So if you're gonna make a 30-minute video, then maybe you just make videos that are all 25 to 35 minutes long, right? YouTube likes it when you keep feeding it the same sort of thing because it knows, it tracks people's viewing habits according to like, do they like long form content? Do they like short content? And it'll keep feeding them what they want. So there's a certain benefit to having sameness. So if you're a 15-minute video channel, then, you know, if all your videos are between 10 and 20 minutes, maybe that's your sweet spot, right? And then if you do a 40-minute video, you know, maybe it doesn't do as well. But
we have people in the comments all the time be like, your videos are too long, but like our best performing videos are videos that are kind of like a half an hour.
Yeah.
We know that not everyone wants to watch half an hour videos. But YouTube has figured out who likes to watch half an hour long videos.
Yeah.
And has been like, hey, these guys make half an hour long gardening videos. You like half an hour long gardening videos. So we've just been kind of like matched up.
It also,
that way.
You know, for a week, the amount of footage we shoot, it seems to correspond to a good video.
Yeah, basically, like, we, you know, obviously we could make 3 10-minute long videos, but we feel it provides more value to be just one. Every week there's one half an hour long video, you know, and you know, so we have a video that's coming out tomorrow.
Yep.
And it covers a couple weeks worth of filming. So the video that went out last week, we had actually been filming for 2 weeks prior to that. So that video had 2 weeks, and then the video that's coming out tomorrow has it like overlaps, like the 2 videos kind of overlap, and it's, you know, we've made a video that's all about it. What's the name? The right tool for the job is the name of the video. And so we just happen to be experimenting with a lot of new tools over the last few weeks. And so we're like, hey, like, this is the perfect theme for a video, right? And so the stuff all went together really well. We could have made 3 different videos, you know, because we bought a pole pruner that we're using to, like, you know, do some cleanup work around the farm on the ground, right? So instead of pole pruner up in the sky, we're doing pole pruner down on the ground, so we don't have to bend over, just save our knees from crawling around. We rented a trencher, and we'd gotten a trencher in the past, so we wanted to, like, share our tips that we learned for our second time renting a trencher, because we had improved our
technique.
Our technique. And then we rented
Bobcat.
Is it raining yet?
It was been spinning out.
Oh my god, rain! It would be so wonderful.
It like hasn't rained here at all. This year.
So, and then we rented a bobcat, right? And we could have made all of those into their own videos, but I feel like the point isn't that we rented a bobcat, right? Like, to me, I'm like, rent a bobcat, right? Done. Like, you don't need to watch that video. You like, oh, rent a bobcat. Okay, yeah. Like,
yeah,
but
it works as a short segment, but it doesn't have to be.
But the point, like, the lesson is a bigger picture lesson, and this is like I think this is one of the things that we try to do on our channel, that's maybe a little bit different than what other gardening channels are trying to do. I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want you to ask me a question and me to give you a specific answer, because that is only going
except for in the live chats.
Well, no.
They can ask you specific questions in the live, but the videos aren't meant to be.
But my specific answer is always going to be, here's how to find the answer for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because for me, the beginner knowledge is someone telling you what to do and you do it. But the next level of knowledge that you gain in gardening is identifying when you need to know something, right?
Or finding the answers yourself.
Yeah, finding the answers yourself, because the answer is going to be specific to the problem. And if you are asking the wrong question, then you're going to get the wrong answer. And so, you know, my goal is to teach everyone how to get the best answer. Yeah. And the only way you'll get the best answer is if you can identify the things that you need to address. And so for me, like, if I'm going to make a video about tools, I don't necessarily think anyone needs a bobcat, but I can be like, I ran into a problem, I identified the need for a tool. These are the things that I needed out of a tool. This is the way this tool achieved that for me. And by being like, here's 3 ways I thought in a different way about tools, my goal isn't that you all go out and buy a pole pruner and rent a trencher and a bobcat. My goal is that you're like, hey, this made me think more about how I can rethink how I use tools in my own garden, right? And the other thing too is, so we make all these videos that are about farming, but I feel like I'm not speaking to farmers, because farmers are like me and we're too busy. We don't watch.
Well, we do have a lot of farmers that follow us.
Yeah, but my goal is to be able to be teaching people lessons that can be applied to their, like, home gardens. Yeah. Or if you're not even a gardener, you can learn something about how to think about your entrepreneurial endeavors, right? Like, you know, I don't want anyone to copy exactly what we're doing. I want the people to, like, think about how to problem solve for themselves.
Yeah, I think because gardening is so much, or farming is so much based on your location, that it's hard to be like, this is the only way to grow this. And Also, especially because we are in such a unique little climate here that faces, totally different conditions than almost everybody else faces. So it's like our practical experience only goes so far, but what we can do to inspire or to show, like our thought process behind what we do, that's what I want to come across in the videos. But also, like the videos, they're meant to be entertaining. They're meant to be this like peaceful time that you can just, you can turn something on and then you can just make, a half hour of your life disappear. And to have enjoyed that half an hour and maybe to have bopped your head a little bit to a groovy tune and to have had a laugh at some like silly joke and to have a moment where you're feeling creatively inspired by a bouquet going together and maybe you see a plant that we're growing that you're like, what, I want something like that in my garden. And then in the end, it's like a farmer's market, and you're like, I want to go to the farmer's market. I want to go to my farmer's market and have a good time because, part of the goal with the channel is to encourage people to shop at their local farmers markets, and so, it's like putting all of those together. It's not just like this is how you grow carrots, right?
Like, and hearing you say that makes me, because I always think that the value of our channel is the fact that we like make the videos together, and part of it is that we like don't work well together.
Yeah.
Right. As I'm hearing Ian speaking, right, like he's saying that he doesn't want what I want, right? Like I'm saying, like, I want people to deepen their knowledge. I want people to like go from being beginner gardeners to being a more intermediate gardener and to like learn and to take away these learning moments from the videos. Whereas Ian is saying, like, I want people to come to these videos and be entertained and inspired. And those are kind of opposing ideas.
Yeah.
But I think that we've like found a way to kind of bring that like together.
We fight about creative vision all the time. About, like, oh, I see it happening this way, and the other one's like, I see it happening that way. And like it's fine because we've made over 500 videos at this point in time. So it's not like
everyone matters. Yeah, every single video matters.
No, they all matter, but
they all cease to matter after they've been released, and then like the next one is the one that matters more than any other one has ever mattered before.
I have if I have like a joke and I'm like, oh, this would be a funny joke to put in this video, and Serina's like, no, you've already done enough stupid jokes in this video. Or if I'm like, oh, I think you should do it this way, or she's like, I think you should do it that way. There's always another video. As soon as you hit that release button, it's like a video is like a serious accomplishment. Go try to make a half-hour vlog of your life and try to make it something that people actually want to watch, and then complete it, put it up on YouTube, and then immediately be like, okay, well, we have to release another. What's our next video? We have to make another one of these.
Okay, so
and the pressure is large.
So I'm just gonna we got a grant. We got a filmmaking grant this year.
Yeah.
And the filmmaking grant is we're making like one video, which has to be 15 minutes or longer. And we're like, and then they're like, and then you also have to make like a supplementary video, which isn't like your main video, just has to go along with it. So like there's less focus to it, but it has to be a half an hour.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, it's a half hour.
And they're like,
you got to make it a half hour.
Yeah, and they're like really.
We're like, don't worry about it.
And they're like, oh, like so. We've been in the program for a while, and it's like, oh, you guys better all get like working on that project. I know you guys are really busy working on your you know, your 15-minute video, which is due next year.
Yeah.
It's like your video that's due a year from now, but like there's this other one that's due in 3 months, and like it's quite long. So like, you know, pressure's on, and we're like, we can make like it's like, oh, go make a video. Like you could tell me right now, go make a video. It has to be submitted by tomorrow, and I'd be like, well, I'm staying up all night, but it's like,
Yeah, it's getting done.
It's getting done. I don't have anything filmed. It's still getting done. Like
Yeah.
we can do it.
We'll put the kids to bed and then we'll film the video.
But like YouTube, totally, it's just like you make so many videos, right? And they still all matter, but there's no limits to it, right? Like you can make as many videos as you want,
Yeah.
right? Like we've put limits on ourselves.
We used to do 3 videos a week.
And
when we
for
started.
when I started, I did a video every day for a while.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was like 5 a week or
I
something.
think 5, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we settled into the 3 a week.
Yeah. And now we're like 1 a week. We have to have at least 1 a week. And
Yeah.
we don't count these live videos. These are just like hangout times.
5 videos a month in the summer is maybe 6 would be ideal per month.
That's like best case scenario.
Because that's like a vlog a week.
And then a monthly farm tour.
A farm tour, and then maybe a something video that pops up. And we want to show something. But, you know, for me, the point is entertainment. Because when we first started YouTube, we started because Kurt, who we knew, and, you know,
People don't know.
Well, lots of people know Kurt.
Yeah, but no one
The
knows
urban farmer, Kurt.
Because he goes by Curtis Stone.
Yeah. And so he saw what we were doing on Instagram, because we were like showing off our garden on Instagram. And he's like, oh, you guys should try YouTube. And he was like the ultimate in like, here's how you clean carrots. You know, on this video, I'm going to show you how to like set up your market display. You know, it'd be like one topic, done concisely, all the information that he had to pass along. Here's like how you can do it. End of video. You know, short, concise, educational, and I'm like, that's never really going to be us. We have too many words. We have too many words to do a 3-minute video. But, you know, I just felt like, you know, whereas he was going to be knowledge, we had to take a different approach. And I felt like our approach had to be making an entertaining package, like making it something that people like wanted to watch because they liked watching it and not because they wanted the answer to that specific question. And then when people are watching the thing that you want them to watch, then you can bring in all these educational elements if you want. You know, like we could do soil blocks in a video and show how to do the soil block process without being a how-to video, right? And so we can still, it was just like, I wanted to wrap everything in this entertaining package. So like when we're editing, I'll be like, every frame matters. Serina believes every frame matters too. But I'll be like watching a sequence and I'm just like watching it to see, I'm actually watching myself watch the video. And every time that I'm like, that feels a little awkward. I'm like, I need to find the exact frame to cut at to like make everything feel so smooth and relaxing. Because I feel like every time that my body is like, that could be that's a little bit jarring. That's a little bit this, that's a little bit that's immersion breaking. And what I want is like complete immersion. I want the video to start.
Yeah, and
then to grab attention.
Half an hour?
Yeah. And then it's like it goes and then it's a half hour later and the video is over and you never looked away. You know, I think about it like,
for me, like one of the best compliments we ever get from our videos is someone who's like, I don't care about gardening, but I watched one of your videos and like I couldn't turn it off, right? Like, so it's like, that means that it's a good story, right? Because if they don't care, if they're not there for the topic and they stay for the story, it means that if you are there for the topic, that like, you know, it's going to be providing a lot of value.
Yeah.
Okay. We Like
We've been talking about
YouTube. So Ian and I, we love YouTube. Obviously, we've been doing it for 5 years, and it's made us some money the last like year and a half, but we did it for many years before it made any money, and we did it because we really like it. And for us, it's about being able to like make an impact on people's lives in a positive way. So when people tell us like, oh, I started a garden because of you, or I never thought about growing this and I grew this and I had so much success, or even people who were like, your videos, I couldn't have a garden, but I watched your videos and it like made me feel really good. That's huge for us. That really is the value of YouTube.
Mhm.
That's what makes it so incredible. But it's really nerdy. And like, there's not very many people who actually care about YouTube.
Yeah, like none of our friends.
Like no one.
Nobody that you know in person.
We it's one of those things where it's like we could literally talk forever about YouTube, and so once we get started on it, we just keep going. But we recognize that we need to limit ourselves. So
it is funny that how little anyone, like everybody, thinks it's so lame that we do this, and
I mean, like I get it.
Every now and then we'll meet in person. Like somebody who watches the videos, and they'll be like a super fan, and they'll be all excited, and they're like, "Oh my god, you guys are just like in your videos or whatever." And that's always a fun experience because it's like, oh, there are people.
When we're like, oh, we make YouTube videos, everyone's like, oh my god, like when we meet these super fans, which is like kind of a joke. It's just people watch the videos, but they're like, oh, like I'm like, it's so exciting to meet you. Like, oh, your friends must be like so excited to like know that you do this thing. Whereas it's like, everyone is like, oh my god, it's so embarrassing. It's embarrassing to admit that I know someone who's like makes videos of themselves in their backyard. They're like, don't even tell me about that. Don't tell me that you do that, because hearing details about that makes me like feel uncomfortable because it's so embarrassing. But it's funny when people are like, oh, it's so cool. Okay, but like I do want what I wanted to do in the videos is kind of talk a little bit about where we're at and the things that are coming along, and we haven't done that yet. So let's do that a little bit before we end the video.
Because we do have our kids have had the long weekend for Easter, and tomorrow they're back at school, so we can't go super long with this video.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like,
because a half hour and they gotta be in bed.
Yeah. Okay. So things are slow on the farm. Like, so we haven't had any snow. Like well, we're gearing up. We're like a train. It takes a while to get to speed, but we're gearing up for the season. No, but so we haven't gotten any snow, but I wish we got snow. The only reason why we haven't gotten snow is because there's absolutely no moisture. So it's crazy dry here right now. It's cold. Usually when it's cold, it being dry isn't so much of a struggle, but it's actually been fairly windy lately. So the wind has been pulling all the moisture out of the ground, and we've really been struggling to keep things watered. We have some seeds in the ground, but it's like they've been in the ground for a while. They were in the last video, but the footage that was filmed of me putting the seeds in the ground in that video was 2+ weeks ago, and we're only just starting to see some germination. So we don't really have very much going. The ranunculus, which we planted out, I don't know how long. It's been a while now, like a month, at least a month. It's not really growing, right? It's been the stuff that's in the tunnel. It's putting on growth, but it's not
taking off yet.
It's not getting any height to it, which I'm like, maybe it's because of how cold the nights have been. The ranunculus out in the field looks super sad. We had temperatures low enough that it was like, we had -7 Celsius. So I was like, oh, we need to like cover these. It's like too cold. We need some protection. And so then I think they suffered from the cold, but then the cover wasn't like ideal.
Yeah.
Kind of like beat them up a little bit. So they're looking really rough this week. I was hopeful that maybe we'd have ranunculus in May, and we're getting pretty close to May, and there's absolutely zero sign of ranunculus.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe it's more like end of May, beginning of June. But it's hard to say because so much of the stuff it kind of just comes and
then it just takes off.
And then it just goes.
Yeah. So they are getting established
Yeah.
in the ground.
The tulips are budding, but they're like short and sad, and I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? I've been watering them because last year we had like unusably short tulips because of lack of moisture. This year, 2 weeks following the snow melt, I started watering them, trying to prevent them from being short due to dry weather, but they're still short. So now I'm like, well, what is going on? I'm like questioning like why they could possibly be so short. I'm starting to think maybe there's
just the uniqueness of our weather conditions.
Yeah, we have like some weird thing going on because any of the ones that are in a little bit more sheltered spot, in a spot that doesn't get full day sun, they're nice and tall and nice and lush. But the ones that are in full day sun, they're short and stumpy and sad looking. So, really.
Are they just going from too cold or like cold winter temperatures just to like how our springs can have a quick, it's like it's cold and then all of a sudden it's really hot during the day, but it's still cold at night. It might just be these weird conditions that make them bud up too early.
Yeah.
And not focus on getting big or
I could also just be paranoid. Right.
But it does seem like they're going to be short.
But they don't seem ideal, which means that I'm gonna have to be like really honest about what happens this year by the time they're sellable, and maybe I'm gonna have to rethink what I'm doing with them. Maybe everyone else is like full sun. Maybe I need to find like a part shade spot to put them to slow them down. But yeah. So at this point, I don't know. Right? Like, I'm pretty confident we'll have tulips for the end of the month, end of April.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we have thousands of them planted. But, so I'm sure some of them will be salvageable. And it's like, that's the time. That's when they normally would be. Even
if they're a bit short, too, they still look amazing. And you can still sell them.
Yeah, totally.
It's just that they might not sell for as much.
Yeah, we might need to add a few more to the bunches.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But other, in exciting news, even though, so we haven't planted anything out because we were waiting through this like really cold weather. It's looking like now we can start planting things out. We did a walkabout today where, I was kind of showing Ian what needs to happen and what the plan is for the next few weeks. But we're at the point now where we are seed starting the warm weather crops that are for the first succession of warm things. So one of my big jobs for this week is zinnias, cosmos, celosia, a lot of that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna get them.
Okay. Well, no, here, just why don't stick around because you said you wanted to talk about the member thing.
We talk about another.
No, let's just do it. It's fine. Like, but that's the stuff. Okay. So.
Well, when's our next member?
So the other thing that we wanted to talk about in the live video today is we wanted to mention that we need to organize the members live video. And Ian made a good point. He said that I talk about this in the live videos occasionally, but I never actually explain what this is. So it's information that's kind of only useful for people who are already currently members. But I don't know what's a way to describe it?
YouTube.
What is the membership?
Instead of doing like Patreon, because we were having people for a while being like, oh, I wish we could support you guys somewhere, like somehow, but you guys are 5,000 miles away, so that's a little bit of a drive. That's the joke that everyone expects. And so everybody's like, oh, you should do Patreon, and then YouTube came out with this thing called memberships, which was easier for us because it was all on the same platform, and we just have, like single platform is easier because we just
we're too busy.
We're too busy, and every time we try to start something, it's more sign up and so through YouTube you can support the channel through memberships, and we have two different levels.
And it's a button that is on the main page that says join.
Yeah,
I think. And
then you get those different what are the ones next to the people's names called?
I don't know.
The symbols. There's a few different. They're all like little icons.
So when you join the channel and become a member, you get a little symbol like Catch 22 Homesteads tomato. Oh, badges. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you get like a little badge, which we like because it means that we can like see the members in comments.
Yeah.
So we can notice who's a member in like the chat, and we can like be alerted in the comments when we look through it. We can see who's a member. And the badges correspond to how long you have been a member. So we can see who's a new member, who's been around for. And then you also, this was my favorite part. This is the reason why like Patreon wasn't even an option as soon as I heard that this existed. But there's emojis that I got to make.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun with emojis.
So we have like custom.
I think there's space for a few more that you can put up.
I know. This is one of these things that we talk about in the members live chat about all the emojis we should make. Because so we get our very own "you can't eat the grass" emojis that you can then use on YouTube. So it's just so fun to me. They just infinitely make me laugh. But yeah, so there's two levels for it.
Oh look.
Yeah, look at how good all those emojis look. I think the one that gets used the most, other than Ian feeling cute, might delete later, is the backstory. You guys are always putting the backstory emoji up.
Which is funny. That one originally came about at what? It's getting its own backstory.
Well, that one's there just to make fun of me.
Later, Steve. Thanks for the magazine.
We will definitely enjoy the magazine. Impressive shipping skills.
We'll plant it in the garden.
But yeah, so there's two levels, which was also fun for us. So you can either be our best friends, and I don't even remember what's the money amount, like $5 or something. Yeah,
and then $20.
And then I think like $20.
It's tough because it was Canadian and American, so it's a little bit.
And it's also been a while. Since we did it.
I think my favorite part.
So if you join, you're either our best friends or you're our soulmate.
Yeah. And we could list perks, whatever perks we wanted to put in. Did we put in the perk about if your boyfriend breaks up with you, then we'll take your side?
Yeah, so we had like all the when it was like, what are the perks of like joining the membership? Like we had all these jokes that we were making about like, oh, we're totally gonna take your side. Like when you break up, like we're like totally still staying your friend, not their friends.
Because we're best friends.
Yeah. But so one of the actual, probably only real perk, other than who doesn't want all those amazing emojis, and the emojis are definitely, they put those in just to like make like YouTube creators want to have these membership programs, because the more members you get, the more emojis you unlock. Like so it's like, oh, the bigger your member group, the more emojis you can have. So they're incentivizing me. But the one thing that we do, which I really appreciate, because these live videos, can get pretty hectic, and they can get pretty busy.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why we don't really do comments very often. It's really difficult to keep track of the comments in these lives because there's so many people. But every month we do a members live video. It's exclusive to only members. It's a private video, and you get a link to it with like a I usually make a community post for you to be able to get the link. And then
you'll usually do a survey before it too.
Yeah, I'm like, here's a few times that I have like coming up, and then everyone says what time works best for them, so that we're most likely to be able to find a time when everyone can meet, because scheduling is difficult. But so we do these monthly live videos, and they're really fun because there's not very many people in it, so I'm able to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, it would just be a little bit more like personal. I'm gonna go get the kids starting to brush their teeth.
Okay, well let's just finish. So that's just it. We wanted to explain about the membership program, and like I said, if you want to look into it more, and see what all the perks are, if we actually did put in perks of we were going to take your side in the argument, because I can't remember if we did. You access that like from our main channel page. There's a button that says join.
So tomorrow morning we got it scheduled already. There's a video that's going to release, and then later this week we're going to try to do a farm tour, because the farm, like I said, we were focusing more on getting stuff done on the farm than we were making videos. So there's lots to show. There's lots of cool stuff. The farm is going to be amazing this year.
We have flowers right now too.
Yeah, we got
We've got a bunch of daffodils that are blooming, so it's starting to look pretty.
The hyacinths are like popping.
Yep, my hellebores.
So, look forward to a sweet farm tour, and then we're gonna start filming. Another vlog tomorrow, I think, as well, or maybe the next day.
Yeah, well, another vlog for next week.
Yeah.
Yep. But
thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for hanging out, listening to us, self-indulgently chat about making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll probably see you live next week. Oh, thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Okay, see you guys.